Okay, so this is basically how I analyze, optimize, and scale my micro niche YouTube content using Claude. And you can also implement this for yourself so you can sign $6,000 coaching clients from your niche content daily. And I'm going to take you through the 3 step process I go through when I analyze my results and decide what to do with a low performing video and what to do with a good performing video. So if you stick around till the end, you'll know exactly what you also need to do. And by the end of this video, you'll know how you can analyze your videos using Claude from the right perspective, how you can optimize your content before you waste months on the wrong videos just executing on them daily, and how you can scale the videos that are bringing you clients currently. Now, I've spent the last 3 years studying the biggest coaching businesses in the info space, and I took these concepts and applied it to the people we worked with. And one of the people we worked with booked 7 calls in 24 hours for her own coaching offer. So if she can do it, so can you. And if you stick around till the end, then you'll find out exactly how she was able to do this. Now, most make money online coaches either don't do anything with the feedback being provided to them, like they just don't even execute on it, they don't take out the time to actually look at the feedback after they post videos, or they just get overwhelmed looking at the data performance of their videos and they don't know how they can go about it and how they can see what they need to execute on, what they need to avoid, which is why they make the wrong decision and the content they create doesn't give them any ROI. However, if you follow what I'm going to be telling you in this video, you'll have the framework to make the right decisions for your video's performance so you can execute on things that you actually need to execute on and then improve your videos, and then your videos will later on convert. Now, there are 3 phases over here. Phase 1 is going to be analyzing your content, phase 2 will be optimizing your content, and phase 3 will be scaling your content. Now, let's go on to phase 1, which is analyze. And the first point I want to elaborate on is the fact that you can never judge a video's performance before 3 days. Like, if you start judging your video performance 2 hours when you post it, like that's not going to make any sense. And thing is, the video is just ramping up, the algorithm is just recognizing the video and pushing it out, so you can never like make a judgment or pass on an opinion before 3 days actually pass by. That is the safe zone. That is when you start to see, okay, like why is my CTR low or why is my retention rate low, and then make changes accordingly. But before 3 days, do not even touch your video, just see how it's doing and how it's performing and everything like that. So never ever judge your video's performance before 3 days. The second point is that you need to feed Claude your video's CSV, and I'll actually show you how you can do it. You simply just go to channel analytics and then you go to analytics part, and then what you do is that once you go to the analytics part, you have to click on advanced mode, which is going to be on the top right. You need to download the information in a CSV. But anyway, essentially what you need to do is feed Claude your CSV, and then you need to ask it certain elements such as what is working well, what's not working well, what I need to fix, and the constructive feedback on your video. So instead of just analyzing your views, retention, oh, what happened? Wait one second. Instead of just analyzing your views, retention graph, CTR rate, average view duration manually, Claude will just do it all for you, so you don't have to put in any manual effort besides the fact of providing it the CSV, which will only take you like less than 2 minutes. So it's actually a cheat code, and I'm going to show you how you can do it. So before I show you how you can actually like what it looks like, I need you to understand how this works so well, because once I fed Claude my information on my videos and I actually implemented the information and the feedback it gave me, my average view duration went from 30 seconds to 2.30 seconds in just a matter of 3 videos, because I literally just executed on this. So what you do is that you feed Claude the CSV and tell you and basically tell it what you want, and then it'll just give you feedback on how your video is performing. For example, in my channel, one of the few outliers is speed running a niche YouTube video from 0 to 10k a day. I show everything. Now it shows me the views, the retention rate, like how many subs it got, the CTR rate, all of that stuff, and it shows me, it just ranks all of these videos, and then it gives me key insights like what format is working well for me currently, what is my current number one problem. And this was like I believe, where is it written? This was like a while back in July. So now in July, retention was a big problem for me, but now it's not a problem for me because people are not leaving under 2 minutes. So it just tells me what's working. For example, like like what videos formats are doing well, what videos are getting impressions, what I need to fix, and then it shows me what I need to do next. So all of these things Claude provides you. And even in one of my videos, it shows me overall in my channel what's the video that performed well. For example, one of the channel outliers is exposing Mark Bill's brand's funnel breakdown. Well, it shows me the views, the CTR rate, the watch time, all of that stuff. It shows me why this video is performing well, so I can replicate the framework and use it in my next upcoming videos. Now you can see the impressions it got. The CTR rate is 10.5%. Like, and it's the best performer. And why is it best performer? Like, it's telling me this, and then it's also showing me another format that's doing well and why it's doing well. And like I said, it's giving me key insights of how my channel grew, like what is working well, how many proven formats I have, so I can keep executing on them until they die out. And what videos are actually being wasted. Like, for example, it tells me one of my videos give me 11 minutes, and I'll tell you, I'll make you make your content print cash. That video was having like a good amount of impressions, but it wasn't getting a lot of views, which is, and that means my CTR rate was low. So it tells me this video is being wasted, and how I can actually implement and what I need to do, which is AKA for this video, I needed to fix the CTR rate. And then once I fix that, my video improved the quality and the retention rate, and the click-through rate, in fact, actually improved. So it tells me what's working well, what I need to improve on, all of that stuff. Now this brings us to our next point. Let this Miro just load. Is that, so for example, you, if your retention rate is currently low, you need to ask it to flag where your viewers actually drop off, and then have it tell you like the reasons of it, why your viewers were exactly likely to drop off. For example, your intro was slow, you had like the topic mismatched with the title, the pacing lagged the mid video, all of that stuff. So for example, for this video, I can see where the drop off happened, where the video picked up, all of that stuff. So once you tell it to analyze why the viewers actually dropped off, for example, in your hook your intro was quite slow, then you can fix the pacing of your intro, all of that stuff. It's essentially like a game changer once you actually implement this. And I actually showed you how to implement this, but unless you actually move on to phase 2, which is optimizing your content, then no matter how much analyzation you actually do, if you don't optimize your content and actually implement on the feedback, then there's no point. So for phase 2 optimization, what the first part is that you need to test relentlessly, because if you test relentlessly, then only can you optimize. You can't optimize for something which lacks the information, which actually lacks the data. So you need to test relentlessly, and once you test relentlessly, then you can optimize. If you don't test different formats, different styles, you won't be able to optimize on what works best for you, what's easy for you, what's good for your channel, all of that stuff. So that's why you need to constantly test new formats, new styles, new intros, new frameworks, all of that stuff. And I actually have this optimization framework that you can start implementing for your channel so that you can scale your coaching business. Number one is that you need to cut/retire a format. Now, only when a content pillar is consistently like underperforming after you've tested it a fair amount of times, then you just don't execute on that anymore. Just stop executing on it, because you've done your fair share of executing on that format and it's not working well for you. Whereas you cannot just make this decision based on of like one bad video. If you need to have like a fair sample testing before you can actually make a decision. Like I said, do not just put out one video and the format performs bad and you all of a sudden don't execute on that format anymore. That you're just doing yourself a disservice. So you need to understand that you cannot make a judgment based on just one video. If a content format is not performing well for you after you've had like tested it out multiple times, then just cut out that format, because you're wasting your time, energy and effort executing on it again and again when it's not working well for you. And then the second part is that you need to refresh your packaging. Now what you need to do is that the title will most probably be like, most should be like lowercase with no caps, because this makes it look effortless. This makes it look like, oh, low effort but like high quality and high value wise. And then for the thumbnail, you need to change it up the style. However, the core winning and identity elements stay the same. For example, the color shouldn't change. Like if you have like a certain color for your brand, then that shouldn't change. If you have like a certain element for your brand, that shouldn't change. However, like you should always test out thumbnails and always give your thumbnails a different angle. However, like I said, the core winning elements should stay the same. and just like test out your thumbnails until you find like a thumbnail style that is doing really good for you, and then just like rinse and repeat it until it dies out, and then you can try other stuff. Then comes the next point, which is you need to feed Claude both sets. Now, what I mean by both sets is your winning thumbnails and titles, which are performing really well on your channel, and your recent underperforming thumbnails and titles. You need to feed Claude both of them, and then you need to ask it to tell you like what is the main elements across the winners, and what is the main elements across the underperformance. So once you ask this, you know what you don't need to do and what you need to do. You know when Claude tells you like consistent performers, like this element is performing really well in your thumbnails, you'll add it to your next thumbnails. And if Claude tells you, okay, this element is not performing well in your thumbnails, you should like cut it out, and you cut it out. It's that simple. And then the last part of this optimization framework is that you need to scale up the winner. So once videos are hitting above average retention rate, CTR, consistently like above average CTRs, then you need to simply just double down on that video, whether that may be the thumbnail, maybe the video framework, maybe whatever, because you need to make more of that format, you need to make more of that topic, that packaging style, until it dies out, and then you start like a new one. So all of the fundamentals are actually the same. Like you need to scale up the winner, because it would be stupid enough if you see a format, topic, or packaging style working well for you and you do not execute on it. So you need to see what is currently working well. Like for the speed running video, I saw that was an outlier in my channel. I rinse and repeat the packaging style, the video format, the structure, all of that stuff until it died out eventually. And then this brings us to our last point, which is scaling. The thing about scaling is that once you identify winners early, like you see like a early retention or like a CT or a signal in which the video is performing really well, you need to lean fast into that. You need to make more topics and like formats around like that previous video that you created and it performed well while it's still hot. Because like I said, if you don't execute on things that are working well for you, it's actually such a wrong move to lean into, because you know something works well, you just need to double down on it. So for example, if you see something that is currently working well in the market, you will execute on it. Same is the case with this. If you see something working well in your channel currently, you need to rinse and repeat that. So first identify winners early, and then just lean on that while the format slash topic is hot. And then you need to use Claude to actually reverse engineer your top 3 performing videos. So ask it and make it break down why the winners worked well. What was the structure, the hook type, the promise? What was like why is the packaging style working well? Why is this certain title working well? Just make it reverse engineer why the video was a winner in the first place, so you can just replicate the mechanism and replicate the main elements and not just a topic, because now you know why the video truly works well. Because maybe your hook was appealing enough for them to stay till the end, maybe the way you packaged your video, maybe the way you spoke, your pacing, all of that stuff. Now you know what made it work well. You just don't have the surface level information anymore. You have the entire information of why that video worked well, and now you can just replicate it accordingly. I'm trying to literally just tell you in phase 3 of the process is that once you find a format, a topic, a title, a packaging style that works well for you, please do not waste it. Please do not just not execute on it. You need to start to execute on it. You need to rinse and repeat the process again and again until it eventually doesn't work that well for you. So scale the winning patterns, replicate the winning mechanisms, make Claude break down and reverse engineer why your videos are actually working so well, and then just execute on the information. Anyway, this is it for the video. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, then you can click the link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.